Welcome, everyone, to the Best Damn Podcast. I am your host, John Keene. As always, I would like to thank you guys for joining me. Ask that you please add follow, check us out, Facebook, Instagram at Best Damn Podcast, Twitter, and please make sure give us a thumbs up, leave a comment, let me know what you think. Share this link, help me to get it out there. That way, new people can find me and new people can see. Tonight, we're going to be talking about is Destiny real? Now, I am doing this one from my phone, so if, if things are glitchy or anything like that, please let me know in the chat, and I will probably switch the stream over to Twitter Spaces for those of you that are for those of you that are watching online. Just let me know if everything's coming in clear, if you can see me, hear me, all of that. I haven't done a live over on these platforms for a while. I've been doing a little bit more over on Twitter. If you guys didn't catch out the targeted individuals video I did with Derek Rose, Willing Witness, I believe is his new name, formerly known as the Global Witness. Okay, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. So hopefully everybody gets the notifications. I think at least it went out for the backup channel. I may pull some tarot cards at the end of this read tonight. And I may not. I don't know. But I've been thinking a lot recently. And thank you. I'm glad you enjoyed it. I feel like a lot of people especially like when it comes to the people that watch this channel in particular, have experienced, targeting. So I feel like a lot of people would, in fact, resonate with that, and they would be able to really resonate at least with the experiences that myself and the people that spoke on that one had. So tonight we're going to talk about Destiny. And looking at Destiny, I guess there's like a few angles I want to, hit this from. For one, we're going to look at kind of Destiny versus fate. Destiny being this ultimate ending to our life, and you can call it. And I think somebody put this on Facebook earlier, saying I was blaming something on deity, but God has destined, or the universe or spirit has destined ultimate ending or ultimate outcome in your life. Whether this is, the person that you're supposed to be with, whether this is your calling, that you are meant to do in life, or, the person you're meant to become. This can be a variety of things that you are destined for in life. And you hear a lot of people use terms like destined for greatness, or things like that. We are also going to talk about fate, fate, things that are fated. And that means, this is kind of like, I like to describe fate as on the road of destiny, meaning like we have these things from point A to point B that we are meant, in fact, to do. People we're meant to be with, experiences we're meant to have. From point A to point B, fate would be the fork in the road, right? Going left versus going right, making one choice or decision versus another. They both end in the same place, right? Wherever you're destined to be, or, the connection you're destined to make, or what you're destined to do, your calling. But however, we can have multiple ways of getting there. So we're going to look at destiny versus fate. We're also going to look at how free will plays into all of this, as well as the law of attraction and our ability to manifest or consciously manifest things. It's like, if we are, in fact, consciously manifesting our reality every day, every moment of every day, based on our frequency, we're attracting or drawing in the experiences that we are meant to have, then simply by changing said frequency, can we change the experiences? Can we change our destined outcome? Right? Can we change what is meant for our life? And is there such a thing as destiny? And when we raise our frequency, or when our frequency lowers, were we always destined to have that happen? And this kind of gets into soulmates, twin flames, soul ties, soul contracts, and things of that nature. And of course, God, deity. What does God or deity play a role in all of this, if any? And I guess this all depends first and foremost on how we look at God or we look at deity. A lot of people, not a lot of people that watch this channel, but a lot of people in the world today do believe that God is a sort of deity and perceive it as some external spiritual influence that is this intelligent designer of the entirety of our creation that we're all experiencing. And you can even kind of look at life as you and me as pawns on the chessboard, as pawn pieces, right, to the chess game of life. And God is really just playing with those pieces. It's like, he's ordained or she's ordained for me to be at a particular place at a particular time, and you to be at a particular place at a particular time. And there's nothing we can do about it, right? I don't really like to think of it in terms like that because it makes me feel like free will is bullshit. It's like if God gave us free will and the choice to decide between good and evil, then it doesn't really make a lot of sense that, God would have a certain outcome destined for your life. That way, or a certain experience set in stone that you just could not avoid. And when you think about it, a lot of people use this as an excuse, especially God as an excuse for why terrible things happen to people. They'll say, oh, well, if God's willing, right? If God's willing, then I'll have that job or that career I want. If God's willing, right? They're saying it's like, if it's God's will, if it's deity's will, this external influence's will, then my life will shape out in the way I want it to be. Then I will have the destiny I want to achieve. Then I will have that relationship I want to have, right? If this external influence allows it. And I just don't feel comfortable with that. It makes me feel like we ourselves are not in control. It makes me feel like we ourselves have no actual influence on our day-to-day lives. And it's like, what is the point of even trying then? If there is a deity or some influence that kind of, sits over or hawks over all of creation and determines our every move, our every outcome, right? Every facet of our everyday lives, then what would be the point of even trying, right? Because no matter how hard you tried, you would always only get what was allotted to you by this deity. No matter how good of a person you was, you could only attract in what this God has decided you were worth, right? So it just doesn't jive with me. It doesn't feel right to me. And I feel like if it was a just and a fair God, then that would probably be the last way that that God would do things, and that also violates the laws of free will, in my opinion. So we can influence through our personal connections. I agree. So I mean, and then there's that too. It's like then people come to the conclusion with deity that we got to kiss God's ass for us to have certain things. It's like, and I will say this, I have people in my family that are religious, and God bless them. They believe and they have faith, and they believe, and I believe this too, that there are cosmic laws, that we have, spiritual laws to our reality, and karma is real. We, our law, or law, the law being essentially that we live in a mirrored reality, right? That, we know that in the Bible, it says in the beginning, we were created in the image of the Elohim in Genesis. Image means a phantom, a projection, illusion. And when we look at the Gnostic text, it talks about creation, the reality of the rulers, that it is the waters above the firmament being reflected to the waters below. So this essentially being a reflective reality, a mirrored reality. We live in a mirrored existence. So the spiritual is mirroring into the physical. So naturally, that means that whatever we put out into the world is whatever we're going to get back. It's whatever we're going to experience, right? That would be karma. That would be our mirrored experience. So I do believe that there are laws to how everything goes. Does that mean that we have to suck up or kiss the ass of some deity or bow down to some deity? I don't, believe so, but other people do. Some people believe that, unless you bow down and get on your knees and praise a deity and, give yourself over to the higher power. And by higher power, I universe, the laws of conscious existence. That's what higher power means to me, but to some it means something totally different. And then that gets into religion. And when you think about it, each and every religion has so many different rules and variations. In one religion, it's okay to marry like fucking 10 people. And another religion, that's called adultery, right? So it's like, which religion is right, which religion is wrong, and then we get, based on what is moral and what isn't, and it gets into this whole thing of, I feel like a really sticky subject. It's kind of God is our conscience within us. It's what feels right for us. At the end of the day, if good and evil are part of the same energy, same kind of energetic existence, but at different ends of a polarity, different ends of a spectrum, right? Then good would be the closest energy or closest frequency pointed towards our true north in life, right? Pointed towards good, positive karma, high frequency, high energy, high karma, right? Where we get good back, where we get the things that we want back, things that feel good back to us, leading us to the path of least resistance. And evil would be the opposite. It would be that negative polarity. It'd be creating resistance towards the things that we want, be creating resistance towards the things that others want in their life as well. Because if we're taking advantage of them, if we are harming them in any way, infringing on their free will in any way, then, we are in essence creating resistance, creating distortion, in that energetic field. And, we're diametrically opposed to one another in that way, which in turn is pushing us away or repelling us from the goal, from feeling good or from making another person feel good. So that's what good and evil is to me. So, when it comes to like following a particular deity, I don't believe that that's necessary. I believe it's more of like following our hearts, following our moral compass, and we know based on that, our own conscious feeling on what feels right to us, what feels good to us, what feels true to us. Now, looking at destiny versus fate, we look at free will, and free will kind of dictates that we get to make all of the choices and decisions that we want, but we deal with the consequences. Not one saying, hello at the mirror. I don't really understand what that is, but I mean, a lot of people practice, mirror magic and things like that too, right? Whenever they're trying to repel something back at someone else. I mean, there's a million different things to do with the mirror, Error or hell. I'm not really sure what you're saying there in the comments. Sorry, man. That's not too clear to me. Sorry about that. And I just want to say thank you, Donna Marie, Elio, Graceful Heart, Kimberly F., Jeffrey McLean. Thank you, everybody, for joining me. Deborah Trow. Yeah, I appreciate all of you guys. Seriously. I can't really see the chat too good. Like I said, I'm on a cell phone, so hopefully you guys can still hear me and see me and everything's coming through well. But this also gets into like, soul ties, soul contracts, twin flames, soulmates, things of that nature. It's like a lot of people perceive relationships, perceive connections, perceive jobs, perceive things of that nature. I should write a book. I've really thought about writing a book. I really have. I honestly have. It's been something I've thought about for years now. It's probably something I should do. But at least I know I have one person that would read it. Elio, thank you. I appreciate that. When we look at, twin flames, soulmates and things like that, it makes me think of destiny. A lot of people perceive love, perceive relationships, and, the things along our path as soul contracts in general, as things that we are meant to experience things that we are meant to experience because we are meant to take a particular lesson away from it. Um, it's meant to trigger us to grow in a certain direction in life. So, are these things that we are destined to experience, right? Things that, and I'm going to try to look at the comments here too. Free will is a tricky one. It seems to be something you have to mature to. What's the turning point, like the age of maturity or drinking age? True. I mean, everything is a lesson. Yeah. Well, and I agree. Children don't necessarily make their own decisions, but at the same time, they do. You know, as they grow, they do have to lean on somebody else to kind of guide their frequency or guide their vibration, right? And that, in essence, becomes their deity, their God, their parents, right? And in a lot of instances, the father and the mother, represent the divine masculine and feminine relationship in a child's life. And you'll see people pursue said relationships that mirror or resemble what they experienced as a child throughout their adulthood, because they're trying to like grow from some type of wound or overcome some type of lesson. Yeah, stop indoctrination. Well, you know what, and that's the thing with when it comes to being indoctrinated. A lot of people, um, a lot of people they use that as an excuse to have lazy spirituality. In my opinion, it's lazy spirituality. It's like, oh well, that means I'm not responsible for anything I've done because it's God's will. It's not my own. That means no matter what choices I make, it doesn't really matter because, God's willing, not me. Right. And I feel like destiny is kind of another one of those things. It's like, yes, I do feel like, when we look into things like astrology, the way that the stars and the energies are aligned, they are more or less favorable for us to have particular occupations or callings in life. We look at someone's true node or north node, and astrology, you can tell like what their calling is or what their occupation will be. Right. Just so happens, mine's in Gemini, and I've done a lot as a speaker, over the years, go figure. I'm also a Virgo, the hermit, and I do a lot in the occult. So, I mean, is that free will? Did I choose to do those things? I feel like I did, but were the energies more or less favorable for me to pursue that path because of the way that the stars were aligned on the night that I was born or the night that my parents decided to conceive me, right? It also says that I'm not sure, bro. You're all over the place. Whoever you are in the chat, I'm not sure. I don't really understand what you're saying, homie. I mean, and I don't care if Satan's in the chat. Satan's more than welcome to watch the show too, if Satan wants to. And fate is more understandable than destiny. We attract frequency, signs from previous lives and previous life experiences. Well, and that would be kind of like the soul contract thing, like looking at, what we've lived in past lives, and it's like, do we have, and I just watched a video not too long ago that said, and it was talking about the reincarnation lie. So, and I'm not saying it's a lie or not. I kind of believe that we've lived more than one life, and I believe that we, probably do spiritually or consciously evolve or mature over several lifetimes and several life experiences. And based on our astrology and the degrees of the astrology, we can tell by how high of a degree it's at on how mature we are at that point of our astrology, or at least that's what it says in astrology. And I believe that a lot of the connections we make in life, especially with people that are our soulmates, this could be like your mother, your brother, or your best friend. the love of your life, um, you know, or somebody that you're just really close to, or somebody that you feel really drawn to. Like you could have had past life experiences with that person, soul contracts with that person, to where you're from some of the same soul groups. A lot of people believe that we are fractals of the creator, or fractals of the infinite, and or fragments of the same star or same essence. And because of that, there's a masculine feminine, a match to those fragments. And that's where you get like twin flames. That's where you get soulmates. Soulmates being people that are all from the same star group as you. So the people that are part of your bloodline, the reason you guys carry a lot of the same characteristics and traits, because ultimately you're the same soul, or a few souls, ultimately reincarnating over and over and over. So it's like when you see your great 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 grandfather and you look just like them, or you act just like them, or you have some of the same traits, or you hear about familial curses and all of that, right? um, that could be why. It's because you're from the same soul group, or part of the same soul, you know and when we look at like soul contracts, same thing, like with a twin, being from one of the same soul groups, or from the same star, and being the same piece or same fractal, but the masculine and the feminine. For one, we know with twin flames and things like that, they mirror each other, right? These divine counterparts always tend to mirror one another. So it's like whatever you haven't healed in your life usually will be reflected in your twin. Now, let's say, hypothetically, you know, um, you have a problem with abandonment or whatever, right? And then the person that you're with, because they're your twin and they mirror to you your wounds, they always tend to leave you, ghost you, or abandon you. You have a problem with drug addicts, right? People always do drugs when they're with you. Well, because the person is mirroring you, you're part of the same soul. The person you're with might just do drugs, right? Like, or have that as, their hang up or their wound. Um, and we see that kind of, manifest in a lot of different ways, whether it's like someone that's experienced infidelity a lot, right? Where people betray them, or they've been cheated on, and then the person they're with has a problem with being faithful, and this is just one person reflecting back to the other, one another's wounds. And is this because this is a destined connection? When we look at like soulmates and twin flames, are these part of the cosmic pattern that we kind of, or the cosmic path that we all take on our way to soul maturity, you know? And it's like, I guess it depends on how we look at life and how we look at life experience. If we look at life experience as we're just here and we die and there's not a whole lot of meaning to it, then, it's whatever, right? Like, I mean, I guess you don't see a whole lot of meaning to any of it. But if you think that you're actually here to grow, to mature, to evolve, to learn and experience different lessons, and those lessons come in a variety of different ways. Yes, and I think all is true, just to keep it real, when we look at like destiny versus fate and soulmates and twin flames and all of it. I think all is true. It's like, yes, we do have a destiny. you know some of us are destined, not because we're better than um, one another, not because like we're worth more than another soul, but we're destined for a particular path because of the amount of lessons that we have when we come into this life and this life experience, right? So it's like, if you're destined for greatness, it's because you've already cycled through so many times that you've experienced all the lessons you needed to experience to actually achieve mastery. So in this lifetime, you're destined for greatness because you have mastered so many things in lifetimes before. You're bound to, have mastery in this lifetime. So that's what I would believe like would be somebody being destined for greatness, right? Same thing with like destined connections. It's like, are we destined to meet someone in our life? And it's like, yeah, well, if we need to attain certain lessons on the path to conscious evolution, to conscious growth, yeah, if you don't be respectful, I'm gonna block your bitch ass. I don't even care about your opinion, just to be real. So I'm blocking your fuck ass if you say anything stupid again. So like I don't care. You ain't shit to me. So just being for real. Like I can't stand somebody coming in the chat and be disrespectful as fuck. It's just tacky. It's like, come on, man. Yeah. And that's why people do it. It's just for a distraction. So I don't care. But what was I saying? Yeah. So it's like if we're destined to meet people, we're destined to have certain experiences in life. I feel like that's because it's part of our soul's evolution, our growth. So it's like, yeah, you will have certain people that you're surrounded with that are going to trigger you in certain ways to have certain experiences. Some of you may have grown up with an abusive parent, somebody that beat you because you needed that particular experience for whatever reason to heal a certain wound in your life or to shape you in a certain way, to push you in a certain direction in life. I know that doesn't really sound like it would be too helpful, to have someone like that in your life or to go through physical abuse or witness physical abuse. But, we don't really understand, the purposes of everything. We just know that some experiences do launch us in a particular direction. Some people go polar opposite of things they experience in life, right? Some people experience violence, physical abuse, poverty, death, destruction in their childhood, and then they want nothing to do with that in their adult life, right? And they grow up and they become really tender-hearted people, people that make it their mission to treat other people better than they were treated throughout their lifetime. So it's like we can't really understand sometimes why, we go through the things we go through, or why we see others experiencing the things that they're experiencing. But we can really just know that, that the purpose of it usually is to push somebody in the polar opposite direction. It's like, when we think of like law of attraction, anything that doesn't feel right or good to us, 9 times out of 10, right, when it doesn't feel right or it doesn't feel good, it's going to repel us in the opposite direction. So whether it's, experiencing, addiction, or whether it's experiencing abuse or whatever, the reason that we experience these things, I believe, is to push us in the polar opposite direction, or to push us in the general direction of healing for those wounds for other people, So it's like some people are destined to have hard lives, and you'll hear people kind of blame that on deity as well. They'll say, well, God corrects the ones he loves. God corrects the ones he loves. Well, I feel like that would be the rules of karma then, you know? And we could say, well, some people get away with fucking murder, literally, right? Why is that? Is it because their life experience, they were destined to experience the guilt of getting away with a crime, And I was actually talking to somebody earlier about something very similar that, it's really hard. We all want to judge everybody's experience and judge everybody's walk of life and where they come from and the choices they make and all of that. And it's like, it's not really fair for us to do because we don't really know what other people were put here for. Some people were put here to have the experience of being a fucking bank robber. Some people were put here to have the experience of being a fucking con man. Some people were here to have the experience of being a rapist. Like, we don't know why they were here for that experience. It's not for us to judge, but we just know that we're all here for different reasons and different purposes, and we're all trying to attain different things out of this life, And if we wasn't, would there really be a point to it? You know, that's what makes life so great. That's what makes things so beautiful, is the fact is that we're all so different. Some people are born and they feel like they're born in the wrong body. Some people are attracted to the same fucking sex. You know, it's like that's what makes us beautiful, is the fact is that we're all different, you know. And each one of those people, each one of those experiences, I feel like, you know, it's hard to tell that person that's going through that they're not living right, or they're not living true to themselves if they feel like they are, you know. And I do see a couple other people. Zero, Mist, thank you so much, guys, for joining. I heard the more you negotiate your life contract before coming here, the better it can be. That sounds good. You know, I don't know if we get to negotiate our life contracts or not. You know, that would be awesome. Um, I feel like as we become conscious creators in our life, uh, we do have the choice to accept certain contracts. So, you know, like I do feel like that. I do feel like, and somebody told me this. Uh, it was in a Facebook post or some shit like that. Um, and it was like essentially that, you know, I think they said, "Oh, how can you tell me like I was supposed to marry my ex-wife or whatever? That was a terrible fucking relationship. That was bad. You know, I shouldn't have been with that person." You know, and that may be true enough. That may be true enough. You may not be compatible with a certain person, you know, or you may not have had a great experience with a certain person. Um, but it doesn't mean that you weren't meant to experience that person. And it isn't because God, you know, cursed that person onto you or anything like that. I feel like you meet people where you're at vibrationally, you know, frequency wise, energetically. You know, a lot of people wonder why they attract in these broken, fucked up, shitty relationships. And it's like, well, did you heal from your last relationship? You know, when you attracted somebody in? What state were you in when you met that person? Were you lonely? You know, were you sad? Were you feeling needy? You know, were you feeling like you were in a state of lack? You have to ask yourself these questions, and you have to be fucking honest too, like where you were actually at when the two of you connected, because energetically, that's what you're going to attract. You know, what's compatible with loneliness, right? What's compatible with neediness? What's compatible with brokenness and being unhealed? You know, it's probably not going to be a fucking great experience. Just to keep it real. It doesn't mean you wasn't doing right in your life when you met the person. It doesn't mean you wasn't on the right track when you met the person. It just means like frequency wise, energetically wise, you know, within your aura, within your field, you had some shit that was off. You had some distortions, so you attracted in a distorted relationship. And to be honest, I feel like a lot of times we need those experiences. Like attracts like, yeah, absolutely. And we need those experiences. A lot of times you need to experience the things that we don't want to show us what we do, you know? I heard somebody in a tarot reading earlier call it putting another patch on their blanket, you know? Another patch on their blanket. It's like each relationship, it's like sewing another patch, you know, on their quilt, on their blanket. You know, it's like in order to like wrap yourself up and, you know, keep yourself warm and secure and protected, you know, you got to have a certain amount of experiences, right? To give yourself that security within yourself, to give yourself that wisdom and that knowledge when it comes to, you know, being with other people. And this can be jobs. It doesn't always have to be relationships. The reason I use relationships a lot of times is because everybody, you know, can relate to that. Doesn't matter if you're straight, gay, bi, whatever, like trans, everybody has relationships for the most part. So it's like that's why I use that as an example. And I feel like love is usually the driving force for humanity as well. You know, it's like Even when we're not in a conscious state, or we're not, spiritual people, we're still driven by reproduction. We're still driven by carnal desire. you know we're still driven by our emotional state. So it's like you don't even have to be aware, and for those things to be true about a person, for those things to be relative, or for those things to be understood. you know so to the person that was saying, like, should I have, been with my ex-wife, I think the answer is yes. You were definitely meant to meet that person. For one, you were in a shitty state, in a shitty frequency when you met her, right? That's why you drew her in. That's why you attracted her. And you needed that experience to show you your own value sometimes. you know Sometimes you gotta have people like not value us, you know to show us how much we are actually worth. Have you ever had somebody like totally just fucking disrespect you? And I mean, like, disrespect you, like disregard you, treat you like you are nothing, right? You might take it for a while. You know, you might take it for a while. You might let somebody walk all over your ass for years, even. I mean, this shit goes on for years sometimes with people. But it's like, even after, a long time, however long it takes, eventually one day you'll get fed up and you'll say, I'm worth more. You know, I mean more than whatever you're treating me like. I deserve more than whatever you're giving me, you know? And it's like, if someone isn't showing you the respect that you deserve, somebody isn't showing you the treatment you deserve, you can, one, decide to continue to take it, and complain about it and whine about it and be sad about it and all of that. Or you can, two, you can decide to make a conscious decision to make a change, and to treat yourself the way you deserve to be treated, to love yourself how you deserve to be loved. And I actually had the same friend that I was talking to earlier, tell me, like, that's the things, one of the things that, he sees in me and a lot of other people out there, like, this desire for others um, to love them or to be on their journey with them. And like, one of the things like a real friend will always want for you is for you to love yourself. You know, it's for you to love yourself the way that you want other people to love you. You know, we teach others how to treat us. That is so true. That is so true. I swear to God, it's so true. That's like, allow somebody to cheat on you once, they'll cheat on you over and over and over. Why? Because you've shown them. You've shown them that, you know, being unfaithful is acceptable to you. You know, disrespect is acceptable to you. Disloyalty is acceptable to you. You know, it's like, allowing somebody to be abusive to you, to speak abusively to you, to be emotionally manipulative to you. Yes, brother, a true friend does want that. Yes, they do. They want to see you love you the way you want others to love you. You know, and I feel like if we all did that for ourselves, we would never be in a frequency of like neediness. We would never be in a state of fucking brokenness. We would never be, in a state of loneliness. So we wouldn't attract in shitty people, you know? We wouldn't be hung up on exes. We wouldn't be stuck on old soul contracts. We wouldn't be stuck on shit, because we know that within us, we have everything that we need. We know that, and thank you for joining, Amanda Smith. I see you in there. We know that within us, we have everything that we need. We know that it starts with loving ourselves first, and like, you look into the tarot too, and like, I love the tarot, obviously, and the symbolism of Hermes and the hermit, and the hermit is like this solo character, this solo creature, this person that, to seek enlightenment, they understand that the journey is a solo one. You can't take anybody with you. We may want to, Like I wanted to a lot of times. And it's like, I can appreciate my partner's journey and they can appreciate mine, but we're never truly on the same journey at the same time, you know? And the hermit kind of reflects that to us. It's about going within, the introspection, and a lot of us, when we do our healing, that's what we do, you know, is we kind of pull back from the world. We go within ourselves, you know, we stop making connections, and it's like, you ever like see people in the dating world that go out there like just totally fucking unhealed? There's nothing more annoying to me. Like when I was dating all the time, it's like nothing more annoying to me than going on a date with a person that was still like stuck on somebody else, still brokenhearted over someone else. You know, it's probably one of the most annoying things to me. It's probably one of the most fucked up things too, because it's totally unfair when we do that to people. When we're not healed ourselves, and it doesn't even have to be over a relationship. you know a lot of times we don't heal ourselves in many aspects of life, and this can come from a number of ways. You see people when they're like in 12-step programs and shit, and they're like healing from addiction. A lot of times they have to be clean a certain period of time before they can start dating again. Why is that? Because they have to be healed, right? They have to be, like in active recovery and have active clean time, and, kind of learn how to be independent, because that produces codependency. Loving yourself comes first. Absolutely. Melopedia. Hey, Mel. Nice to see you. Yeah. And it's like, a lot of people go out there and they're not healed, and it's like, this is not just dating. This is spiritual teachers. This is our friends, our family. So many people put their fucking emotional wounds on us, and it's not fair. It's not fair. Then when we do or we say something, or we make a mistake, or, or we show our own flaws or our own unhealed parts or whatever, it's like we don't even know sometimes what we're triggering in another person because they haven't healed it within themselves. That's why it's important for us to like make sure that, if especially if we're like trying to be spiritual teachers. And I'll be honest, that's why I don't do a lot of the spiritual teacher shit as much as I used to. Like I really started taking it seriously, like the things I was saying. And like I wanted to like work on myself. I didn't feel like I had the right, or was in a position to share anything with anybody other than my own experience. I definitely wasn't in a position to call myself a teacher, and I hate it when other people do that, when they like refer to themselves as a spiritual teacher, or, a guru or anything like that. It's like, dude, we're all rocking this experience together. There's nothing wrong with sharing the wisdom of what you're going through. There's nothing wrong with sharing the knowledge of your experience, your day-to-day life even, you know. But don't portray yourself as, you know, someone for others to like lean on or glean from, if you don't have it all figured out. And I'm guessing if you're still living and fucking breathing and fucking and eating and shitting and all that, you don't have it all figured out. You know. Yeah, we all are learning together. Oh, nice. There's been a connection since 1989. Wow, you always end up coming together. It's beautiful too. It's like I have, when they say you get like 3 great loves in your life. Um, I guess I don't know if I'm up or if I got one more left. I'm not really sure if like your childhood love counts or not. But it's like I have people in my life that I've felt as if, were soulmates of mine, or people that I've had divine contracts with, or people that were my divine counterparts, people that have touched me emotionally. And that's how you'll kind of know one of those connections. I feel is like even when they're not around, you still feel them. You know what I mean? Like you still feel that person. You can be with somebody else even and still think of them and still feel them, and you compare everybody you're with to them, and you know the wounds from those type of relationships or those type of connections, they don't heal easy. They don't heal fast. Some same even energetically, absolutely energetically, you know. And I literally was doing cord cutting rituals on the bitch. I swear to God, I was like so tired of it. We had been broken up for forever. And I was doing cord cutting rituals on her. I just wanted to cut that energy out of my life. I wanted to be over it. I wanted to move on. I wanted to start over. I'm not even lying. And it's like the moment I would heal or the moment I would withdraw would be the moment, that person would come back into my life, you know? And it was like, and here comes the next lesson. Here comes the next round, you know? And it's like I'd probably take more shit off that person than I would off of anybody else, you know? And I feel like everybody's had at least one of those people in their life, maybe more, you know? At least one of those people in their life is like you can never get enough of that person. You know what I mean? Like, I think there's just a stronger attraction there because it's not just based on sex. It's not just based on the physical, there's a deep emotional tie. There's usually a very deep spiritual connection, you know? Um, and energetically, one can be a lot. According to frequency vibes, one can be a lot. I'm not really sure if I caught the whole of that one. But energetically, and it's like you still, you feel pulled to that person. You feel drawn to that person, you know? And it can almost create like a dependence too, to where when they're not around, like you feel like the yearning or like the need for that energy, you know? And I feel like it's not a healthy state to be in. Definitely not a healthy state to be in, you know? And those are some of the hardest ones to get over. Those are some of the hardest ones to heal from, you know? But we all need to have experiences like that. I feel like even though some of those, hey Ginger, nice to see you. Even though some of us, we get incredibly wounded from those connections, and I'll be honest with you, when I've had really deep connections, they've wounded me the worst. It's like they've torn the biggest piece of me out. When they leave, or when we break up, or when we part ways. It's like they take a piece of me with them, even. And probably I would, me of them. And it's like it takes us a long time to recover from stuff like that. But are those type of things necessary in our life? Is it necessary to have those type of experiences? I mean, even with my brothers and sisters, I connect with them energetically. Not a bad thing. I feel that way about a husband. It's been a good marriage. You are lucky. Wow. Well, that's beautiful. And look, I'm not saying it's always bad. It's not. It's not. It's a lot of times that's your true fucking love. If you have something that strong with that person, it's like and what's funny too is like when you break up or split apart from those people, it doesn't matter if it's 6 months, a year down the road. A lot of those people will still be so damn triggered by you. Just the sound of your voice, the look of your face, or whatever. It's like And that shows like they're still not over it, like they still haven't healed from it because they're still triggered from you, years later, or, however long later. Those are powerful, powerful experiences, and they teach us about what real love is really about, you know. When you're ready, I think it hits you. I would agree with that. I would agree with that. And I feel like a soul connection too with people like you, like my soul family. It's not just people I have sex with, you know, not just people I've been with, not just people I've loved in that way. My partners, I feel a soul connection or soul ties to, you know, people that I feel like are on the same level of consciousness. Got you. Very different and have very different interests. Well, that's another common thing too. Um, one of the people I've had that I've had a really good experience with, I was so different then. And I feel like um, we came from completely different walks of life. There was a lot of similarities. Um, a lot of things that we did connect on, but like as far as like we came from two different worlds. So I mean, different types of music, different types of people, different tax brackets, the whole fucking nine. I mean, we were just very, very different. You know, even different color hair. um, that's called a divine counterpart. That's why they say opposites attract. It's like a person that balances you out, like they ground you. They bring out the best of you. They bring those attributes and those characteristics that you yourself don't have. And you bring that to them too. Like I'm unruly and wild as fuck, and not really on a routine or schedule. And I kind of gravitate towards the dark side a little bit, you know. So I need somebody that's different than me. I need somebody that, blows sunshine up my ass. And I need somebody that's, organized and, you know, um, really grounded and stable, and brings that. I'll bring the excitement and all that. It's like you bring the stability, and we'll figure it out together. It's like I've had people that are like me, but usually those relationships don't go very well. We don't build a lot of wealth. We don't build a lot of emotional security. We don't build a lot of trust. We don't build a lot of anything. Because we're both all over the place. We're both chaotic. We're both dark. You know. So it's like having that divine counterpart. It's like a counterweight. It brings balance to your life. It grounds you. It makes you want to be a better person. It makes you want to be more. You know, it makes you believe in shit like destiny. It makes you believe in shit like fate. It makes you believe in shit like soulmates. It makes you believe in shit like twin flames. Boundaries are tough but needed. Boundaries are huge. Boundaries are huge. I'm not good at boundaries. I won't lie. I'm not very good at them. Not really creating them myself with others. A lot of times I've had to. Um, People will remember when years ago, uh, when I started doing the content and all of that, I used to answer every phone call, every text. I would spend my whole fucking day like just talking to people, giving every ounce of my time, and I drained myself of energy till I had nothing left. You know, and I was not able to set boundaries in that way. I When I was younger with friendships, a lot of times I would have these friends that would kind of like, try to ride my coattails to whatever I was doing and wouldn't have the same caliber of talent or put in the same amount of energy or effort into things, but want the same payoff, to whatever projects or things I was working on, you know. And because they were my friends, I would allow them to do it, and to the point to where I stopped even having friends, right? Because I knew I wasn't good at having boundaries. with them, which is not special either. And in relationships, you know, I would be so fucking loyal. Like these people, and this has only happened a couple times, but you know, people I like truly loved, I'd be so fucking loyal to these people. Like they would be over me. I mean, probably dating other people, and I would still be at home mourning their loss. You know, like still waiting on their phone call or waiting for them to come back. You know, waiting for another chance or waiting, you know, for them to give a shit. You know, so it's yeah, we do have to have boundaries. You know, we do have to have boundaries because there's a beauty in being like selfless and loving. And I tell you what, I've had some wonderful selfless loving girlfriends too. I really have. Good people. Don't know what they seen in my ass, but and I have some my mother's really selfless and loving. I have good people in my family that are selfless and loving. Great friends that are selfless and loving. But the thing is about selfless loving people, empathetic people, they get run over a lot. They get taken advantage of a lot. And one of two things usually ends up happening. A, it usually ends up blocking their heart chakra. They get blocked off here. And I've been in that spot where I've been blocked off here to where I couldn't make myself give a fuck or care if I tried. You know, because I was cut off from all the wounds, from all the scars, you know, of what others have done to me, you know. And it blocks us off, you know, in our heart space. It blocks us off energetically. We're not open emotionally to love. We're not emotionally available, you know. And a lot of times when we become like that too, and I'm guilty of this as well, is I would like get with people that were kind of beneath me. And I'm not saying anybody's actually beneath me because there's no human being on this earth that is actually beneath me. I mean, like, I could have done better, but I would intentionally get with people that I knew were bullshit because then I would not care or I wouldn't put any faith in the situation. You know what I mean? Like, does that make sense? Like, it's like, well, I don't have to open up and put myself at risk because I don't give a fuck. I know this person's a piece of trash, you know? Or I know this is just sex, or I know this is whatever, you know? And that's not a good spot to be in either because I feel like it just kept me in that state. You know, so that's one thing that happens. We get blocked off in our heart space emotionally. Or two, you know, we get so fed up with people taking and taking and taking that we think everybody's taking. You know, we think everybody's like that. And we stop giving. You know, we stop giving. And we miss out on the right people. We miss out on the right people. We miss out on people that do appreciate us, that do love us, that do see how special and how beautiful and how wonderful we are. It's like we miss out on that because whatever we've been through in our life has made us think or feel like, you know, everyone is like that. You know, it's like we've been taken advantage of to the point where like we feel like we have to create a boundary. It's like, well, I'm going to create a boundary now with a person that probably don't even deserve one, you know, and keep them out that way, you know, or we run from love, or there's a million different ways it manifests, you know, but it's like, that's why it's so important to really like heal up all the way before we get involved. You know, that's why it's so important to heal up all the way before, you know, before we like try to teach others, especially. And I feel like we all teach by example each and every day, anyways. If you are in this chat, I'm sure you've taught a million people just by existing. You know, they've probably seen how far you've come and all you've been through, and they've probably seen all your growth. Self sabotage is a bitch. Hey, I'm just wondering, is the chat spying on me? Like everything that they keep bringing up are just things I do. So I'm just wondering, are you guys spying on me? Yeah, self sabotage is a bitch, and you know we can get in a place to where we feel like we don't deserve good things. I've done that as well. I've been in really good situations and just totally just fucked them up. Just fuck them up out of fear and insecurity and just all the things you don't want to have within yourself. We've talked on the phone. Yes, we have talked on the phone. I've talked on the phone to a lot of people. Yes, I have. I definitely have. I love all you guys. I appreciate you so much. Like a lot of you guys have been here for a long time. So I appreciate y'all. Make sure to hit the like if you're watching on YouTube, or if you're watching on Facebook, comment and all that. It helps me out. But yeah, the self-sabotaging is like, I've been in situations where things were like so good, and after coming out so bad of shit, right? Like, or coming out of such shitty experiences, when you get a really good experience, it's almost like it's too good to be true. You know? It's like you'll start to do things to fuck it up out of fear of it. Like, it gives you like a sense of control, I think. Or at least I feel like that's how it was for me. It was like, well, if I end it, or I cause it to end, then I controlled the outcome. I decided how this played out, not you. I'm not the victim, I'm not the prey, I'm the predator, you know. And that happens to a lot of people. A lot of people get fucked up and then get hurt throughout their life. And then that's where you get the saying, hurt people hurt people. I've done that too, I think we all have. We've all taken out on others probably what they never deserved, you know. Even if it didn't come from someone else, it probably come from our own self. It come from our own self. And we were taking it on to someone else that didn't deserve it. And anybody that's saying they've never done those things is probably full of shit. I was doing the same during early pain. Come through better than so many. Yeah, we've definitely come through better than so many. We've come through better than a lot of people. Look around you at like how many people, like especially in like spiritual circles and shit like that, like look at how wacky these motherfuckers are now, and it's like it's not even about, for a lot of people, it's not about growth. It's not about change. It's not about evolving. It's not about healing. It's not about none of that. It's about sugarcoating and fucking dressing up, their pain and all of that, and creating the same illusions they had when they were quote unquote asleep. Now, but under some new age doctrine. Thank you. Thank you. Trauma-based processing. You are loved, John. Thank you. And I thank you. I do accept it some days. I appreciate it. Thank you, the U channel. Yeah, it's like now that's what a lot of spirituality has become about, though, is like, it's like window dressing our pain, or window dressing our trauma, or trying to make it look like something it's not. And I feel like religion does the same thing. It's like just giving an excuse for why it's okay to suffer, instead of like finding the cause of suffering. It's giving an excuse of why it's okay to feel lack, or why it's noble to be in a state of lack, instead of how to find prosperity or how to be abundant. You know, and that's what I don't like about religion. A lot of the same shit with a lot of these people online now. You know, like this whole woke, conscious, spiritual community. Like I can't hardly watch or stomach a lot of it anymore. You know, if it's not the asshat conspiracies that are got you chasing your own tail, you know, and it's like there's no logic behind a lot of the conspiracies anymore. Usually, if you're able to watch a video of it, it's usually nonsense. Just keep it real. Um, there's no logic behind any of the theories, or there's nobody really finding anything profound anymore. You know, they're just rattling off a bunch of shit to make us all look crazy. You know, make us all look foolish. That way they can point at us and say, look, see, conspiracy theorists are schizophrenic. You know, they're mentally ill. And some of them are. Trust me. I've dealt with a lot of them. Probably about half of them are. Or more. You know, where you have like kind of the conscious spiritual community that just wants to, you know, glamorize our pain and make it something noble or stoic. Hey, Raven, nice to see you. Nice to see all of you. I appreciate all of you, man. You know, so I don't know if I don't even know if I answered the question. This is more of just a discussion, I guess. You know, caught you with Derek. Yeah, yeah. That was really fun. That was really fun, and it was actually I'll give Derek the credit on that. Derek actually fucking called me and was just like, "Bro, where you been?" You know, like, and I'll be honest, I just get so frustrated with the platforms I'm on tonight. I get so frustrated with all of them because all the censorship and all of that. I just it's like why put in the energy and effort. It's not about the money anymore. It's like I don't do this for a living anymore. I don't even get donations and shit like that. So it's like I could care less. You know, it's like I want to do it for the passion, and it's like if I can't even have nobody listen to it or hear it or see it, then what's the point? You know, what's the point? You know, that's the point. Is to reach people. You know, is to reach people. And it's like if you're not able to do that, then you're just kind of butting your head up against the wall. You know, and doing the same thing over and over and over and expecting a different result is the definition of insanity. And that's kind of how I felt where I was at. But I did enjoy doing the Twitter spaces. There was actually a lot of people that got to listen to that. And then, yeah, I'm going to do the X thing a lot more, actually. A lot more. 200 to 500 space. I had about 80 something in my space. So, and that was the first one I've ever done. So, I mean, I was really happy, with that, honestly. You went through bad times, went into hermit mode, and studied, came out stronger. Had to be in hermit mode before I could go on to be happy. Dude, Ginger, I couldn't fucking relate to that more. It was a good show. Thank you. I enjoyed doing that. I really did. Not just because of Derek and Sarah. I mean, I love them obviously, and that was a big reason I did it. But uh, and I did. Um, I'm supposed to be. Hopefully, he got the email, but Derek emailed him as well. You guys know who Donut is. Supposed to. Hopefully, we will collab, and I'm supposed to do a couple more spaces with Derek too. One on the Anunnaki. So, yeah, I'll be I'll be doing some other stuff. And I did do the missing link recently as well. So I've done some stuff. Yeah. I'm going to continue to do content. I'll do a lot more of the spaces too. Like I said, I don't know if we actually, touched on, or answered the question or not. But it was really more of a conversation. It's really more of a, something to think about. Like whenever we're looking at ourselves in the mirror, I feel like it's important to ask ourselves, like, are we living up to our destiny? You know, that's probably the question that hampers me the most. It's like, and sometimes you need to, I feel like it's really good to be with like your people, or people that love you or people that care about you, or just, not going hermit mode for too long. Because sometimes others will see in you what you don't see in yourself, you know? Like sometimes it just feels good to have people say, hey, I love you. I'm concerned or just wanted to check on you or whatever. Sometimes it just feels good for people to see your potential or your ability or whatever. We all desire that in our life. We should never need that. Donut is awesome. Yes, he is. He's cool. Um, we should never need that from others, you know, but it's always nice to have. It's always nice to have other people to recognize, your growth, recognize your progress, recognize your gifts, recognize your spirit, man. And I feel like when you're with spiritual people, that's what you're going to get. Perhaps a better way of seeing it is, am I doing the best I can today? Right. Right. Am I doing the best I can today? Right. And I feel like we are all destined for greatness, in my opinion. I feel like if there is a divine order to things, no matter what degrees of astrology you were born at, um, no matter what your inherent gifts are or are not, we are all destined for greatness in our own unique way and have our own unique way of expressing that, you know. So when you are looking in the mirror each day, like sometimes it's important to just say it to yourself, like I am destined for more. Not in like a judgmental, as in I'm not good enough way. As in, my path is meant to take me to higher places than I'm currently at. And I'm always on the path of growth. I'm always on the path of excelling. I'm always on the path of achieving, overachieving. I'm always on the path of learning. I'm always on the path of healing. I'm always on the path of expansion. Because that's what my destiny is. That's what was decreed before I was ever born. You know? And long after I'm dead, that's what I'll be remembered by. There's a lot of energy right now. A lot of energy right now. Good energy. Anytime we have full moons and things like that, it brings a lot of illumination, a lot of energy. A lot for us to really use to heal. And nobody can produce more energy than you. You don't have to use the sun and the moon and the stars, for your moments to heal or your moments to, to do things in life. You can do it any day. You can start any day. You can choose any moment to improve or to get better or to be more. And I do agree that as long as we're getting a little better each day and trying every day, then we're doing the best that we can. So I do want to thank each and every one of you for watching tonight. High vibration is our most important job. I couldn't agree more. When we raise our vibe, we make our aura bigger. We touch more. We influence more. We're more powerful. We have more dominion over everything. I couldn't agree more. We attract more beautiful things into our life, more experiences that we want, more of the people that we want, more of the things that we need when we have a higher vibration, a higher frequency. I couldn't agree more. If you want to, guys, please donate, support to the channel. Rhonda Marlowe, nice to see you. The experience is a gift, absolutely. This is the greatest gift we'll ever get, is to live this life, to have our families, our friends, our lovers, our loved ones. Like each and every moment is a blessing. It's like that's why I'm fucking so slow to give up on someone or something I'm committed to. It's like I know it could all end tomorrow, and I try not to take anything for granted or anyone for granted. Call it not having boundaries, call it whatever. I don't give a fuck. It's like that's the way I'm made. So If you'd like to donate support to the channel, PayPal, Cash App, Facebook Messenger Pay. You can join us on Patreon. It's appreciated, everybody that does. You want to book a personal tarot reading, text 513-393-2396 or email therealbestdampodcast@gmail.com. Please like, share, follow, subscribe, whatever you're watching on. And especially on Twitter at The Real Best Damn. I'm going to be doing a lot more Twitter spaces, Instagram, Facebook at Best Damn Podcast. And, both the YouTube channels, the links are all in the description. And I just love you guys. I appreciate all of you. Comment, let me know what you think. And I will see you next time. You'll have an awesome, awesome week. I'll try to do a live this weekend as well. Maybe I'll do a Twitter space this weekend too. And I'll announce them. So thank you guys so much for watching. I love you all. Thank you for all donating support and all that good stuff.